Salutations everyone, and welcome to Let's Play Dominion's 4 Thrones of Ascension by Illwinter Games Design. I am your host, BrainBoy20. Illwinter Games, you might know them for the Conquest of Elysium series, one of the series that my channel is somewhat famous for. Fame, if you could call it that. And this is the series that I had intended to replace Conquest of Elysium with, as I tended to like the Dominion series, although I'll be going into this one somewhat blind, as I've only played the Dominion's 3 series a little bit, and even then I haven't actually finished a full game of it, so I'm hoping to use this as an excuse to actually play a full game of Dominions. Now, Dominions, you are significantly different from the Conquest of Elysium series if you're going into Dominions from the Conquest of Elysium series. In Dominions, you are a pretender god. The main god, the head honcho, is either dead or missing, or gone, and you, the pretender, are up against a bunch of other pretenders for the faith of this world, in an attempt to become the head god. Now, for those who know these styles, who know me from playing these styles of games, they know that I love playing the biggest possible map, so we have the largest room to expand, and simply having massive armies and clashing them with one another. And so I'm going to select Glory of the Gods. Along these hills and vales, across these fens and wooded heath, between the highest clouded crag and the darkest depth of the sea, here the last epic will be written. Who will be its author? This is a huge map suitable for the maximum amount of players, any number of underwater nations as well. I'm just going to put this down as the Let's Play game. That's not valid. Let's play. Now, in Dominions there are 3 eras that you can select from. The equivalent in Conquest of Elysium would be like selecting either the new Empire, the Fallen Empire, or like the tile set. Albeit this doesn't affect the tile set as much, but affects what units you can possibly encounter, what other tribes you can find, like the neutral forces, and those forces that you can recruit. So this the early ages are full of magic, and civilization is at its beginning. At most places, iron has not been thought of yet, and armors and weapons are made of wood, stone, and bronze. Mages are most powerful in this age, and there's an abundance of magic resources. It is a time of legends. Middle Ages. Civilization has continued to make progress, and modern technologies like iron are now available to most nations. Mages have lost some of their former power, and magic resources are not as abundant as before. Late Ages. In the Late Ages, iron and steel are readily available and used to arm most troops. Magic resources have continued to dwindle, but mages have become more organized, and the knowledge of different magic paths are greater than ever before. From those descriptions, you could probably tell high magic, very specialized magic exists in the early ages, but your main troops, your frontliners, will not be as strong. Middle Ages is the middling ground, and Late Ages is versatility and utility over raw power. But I love raw power, so I'm going to select the early ages. I'm going to add the maximum number of players, although I've never done this in an actual Dominions game. Yeah, no. 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 Like, no. I have played this game before, or at least Dominions 3, and I understand even that's too many. Like, at most I had 5 other nations, and it was heavily contested then. I'm actually curious how many you could actually have at maximum, or if this game would even be valid. Anyway, for AI we have easy, normal being this level of difficulty. I'm guessing they're on equal footing with the human. Difficult, more resources, and probably the maximum level of AI possible. And then impossible is where they're just flat out cheating. But I'm just going to go for normal here. AI type, standard, defensive, aggressive, random, could be any one of those 3. How many other people are we having? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I think we can do 6 others. Now, detail, and detail is what's noted in any of the games by Illwinter. They might not be the most graphically impressive, but it's a numbers game that you're playing, and there's a lot of depth to them. As such, there's also a lot of backstory. I'm going to leave a little note here about what time to skip to in the video. That's going to be an annotation. Because I'm just going to use this episode to read through most of these nations. I'm not going to spend as much time on each and every single individual one, because that's going to take forever. But let's begin, shall we? Arcosphale. Golden Era. An ancient human kingdom led by philosophers. Arcosphale mainly uses heavy infantry, chariots, and flying Icarids. The philosophers are skilled researchers. Oreids, roaming mountain spirits, and mystics skilled in astral and elemental magic give Arcosphale great magical versatility. The priestesses of Arcosphale can heal wounded soldiers. Ermor. Ermor is a human empire centered around a great city. The empire has just recently converted to the new faith, and its magical skills are very versatile, as mage priests from the old faith still linger. Ulm. Ulm is a nation with a barbarian legacy. They are strong and proud, and worship steel and spirits of the wild. The warriors of Ulm are stealthy and well-versed in the ways of the wild. The warrior smiths are masters of magical forging. Marverni, time of Druids. Marverni is a nation of tribal chiefdoms led by Druids, powerful readers of the stars and the earth. Most warriors fight bare-chested, but noble warriors use chainmail armor. Sarumatia, Amazon Queens. Sarumatia is a tribal nation ruled by women. Swift raiders and lancers form the backbone of the armies. Amazon warriors and androphages are the sacred elites of the Sarmatians. Witch kings, masters of dark sorcery, rule the androphage tribe. Hydras from the Pitha Marsh are tamed and used in warfare. Tianqi, spring and autumn. Tianqi is an emerging empire. Masters of the 5 elements and celestial masters are versatile mages. The nobles partake personally in battles, and their chariots form an important part of the army. Sacred celestial beings and the sacred warriors of the 5 elements form the elite core of its armies. Makaka, Lion Kings. A human kingdom ruled by a royal family of great men. Makaka uses many different animals for warfare, and is like to medium infantry as well as archers. Priests and witch doctors from various clans give Makaka a wide range of magical skills. Makakans dislike cold lands. Mictlan, Reign of Blood. Mictlan is an old kingdom ruled by priest kings. Their god hungers and must be sated with blood sacrifice. Mictlan has powerful blood mages and priests, but its infantry uses archaic weapons. Abysia, Children of Flame. Abyssians are lava-born humanoids that radiate heat. Abyssians mainly use heavy infantry. They have skilled fire and blood mages, and their priests can perform blood sacrifices. Abyssians dislike cold provinces. Calum, Eagle Kings. Calum is a union of 3 tribes of winged beings that live on high mountain tops. One tribe is fully immune to cold, and another tribe is cold and lightning resistant. All mages of Calium are skilled in air magic, and some have skill in water and death. All of Calium dislikes warm lands. Citiz, Lizard Kings. Citiz is an ancient kingdom of lizardmen. They do not use cavalry or archers, but use chariots and javelins instead. Citiz has powerful death mages and powerful lizard king priests. Lizards dislike cold provinces. Pangea is a woodland realm of wild halfmen. Pangea has stealthy satyrs, flying harpies, strong centaurs, and raging minotaur warriors. The Pani are powerful mages of nature and earth, and are able to lure women into the wild. Agatha, Agartha, Pale Ones. A cavern realm of Pale Ones and troglodytes, Pale Ones can grow to huge proportions. Oracles and Earth-blood mage kings rule the Pale Ones. All Pale Ones have perfect night vision. Tirnargon. I'm going to try that again. Tirnanango. Tirnanag. Tirnanag is a blessed isle ruled by a magical race known as the Tuatha, and their city descendants, Firbolg, lesser descendants of the Nebidins, compose much of the populations. The city and the Tuatha are able to weave illusions to hide their true appearance. Fomoria, the Cursed Ones. Fomoria is a bountiful land inhabited by malformed giants. The land was attacked by wave after wave of invaders. Of these, the Firbolg, lesser descendants of the Nemedins, have established themselves and live in peace with the Fomorians. A few of the magically powerful Nemedians also linger, defeated remnants of an invading people now subjected to their old enemies. Vanheim, Age of Vanir. Vanheim is a nation ruled by Vanir, ancient enemies of the Jotun giants. Vanir can sail across the oceans and hide themselves with illusions. They mostly use infantry and sacred berserkers. The dwarven smiths are powerful earth mages. Helheim, Dusk and Dawn. Helheim is a nation of Vanir ruled by kings guarding the entrance to Hell. Vanir can hide themselves with illusions. They utilize many unique troops, including flying Valkyries. The Hangedruts are powerful death and air mages, and the Svatar smiths are skilled in earth and death magic. Niflheim, Sons of Winter. Niflheim is a frozen realm and home of the Nifl giants, descendants of Rim's Tursar. Giants are immune to cold and dislike hot lands. The mages are versatile and powerful sorcerers. Kailasa, Rise of the Ape Kings. Kailasa is a realm of intelligent apes ruled by Yakshas and Yavanas, divine beings living on the sacred mountains of Kailasa. Lanka, Land of Demons. Lanka is a realm of intelligent apes ruled by Rakashas, demon ogres skilled in dark sorcery and necromancy. Yomi is a nation of Oni and their servants. Oni are demons of the mountain wilderness. They are magically powerful and almost immortal, but few in number and rather stupid. Hinnom, Sons of the Fallen. Hinnom is a wasteland inhabited by several kinds of giants. The Raffatite lords rule the lesser giants by fear and force. Ur is a nation of wild men. Enkidus led by the priest kings of the first city. Berthos, the Phoenix Empire. Berthos is a nation of sailors and tradesmen who have founded dozens of colonies. Since the founding of a colony near Ashdod in Hinnom, they have become influenced by the blood cult of the Melkarts. Zigbalba, Vigil of the Sun. Cave-dwelling bat people that once guided the sun on its nighttime passage through their caves. Atlantis, Emergence of the Deep Ones. Atlantis is an underwater nation of amphibious beings. They do not use missile troops. They have powerful earth and water mages and powerful priests. Relia, Time of the Aboleths. Relia is an underwater nation. A race of mentally superior beings has enslaved other races to work for it. Relia has Atlantean and Ocean troops, as well as their own aboleths. The aboleths are powerful astral and water mages. Pelagia, Pearl Kings. Pelagia is an underwater realm of Tritons and Mermen. Tritons are unable to leave the sea, but Mermen can shed their tails and walk on dry land. Both races have mages, but only the Merman mages can leave the sea and their magical powers become severely reduced when they do. And finally, Oceania, Coming of the Capricorns. Oceania is an underwater realm of half-men. They can remove their tails and walk on dry land. The Capricorn is a powerful nature and water mage, but loses some of his power if he leaves the sea. Sirens can take bird shapes and lure enemies into the sea. The legendary bishop fishes lead the cult. That is every single possible nation. And while I would normally pick Cthulhu, i.e. Relia, or I'd pick Ermor as a solid choice, I'm going to pick a race I was experimenting with in Dominions 3 to see how they're different here. I'm going to pick Helheim, Dusk and Death, from a very, very friendly person with death. Helheim is a land of shadow. Oh. You know what, I'm not even going to tell you guys to skip it. It's going to go by so fast. In short, I'm not going to bother reading through all that stuff. You can look at the lore yourself, but I'm not going to read through all the lore immediately unless it's specifically requested. And I also completely forgot that this happened. Yep. Anyway, Helheim, Dusk and Dawn, or Dusk and Death. Helheim is a land of shadow, windswept moors, and silent mountains. Here lies the Niflheim, the stone cave, where the dead pass through on their way to hell. The hanged kings, ancient Vanir who hang themselves to learn the secrets of death, rule the land from their thrones in Helhala. Helheim is inhabited by Vanir, a race of tall and innately magical beings who are able to trick mortals with their glamour. The Vanir of Helheim have sequestered themselves from the Vanir of Vanheim, and have not been a part of the great war with the giants. For ages they've been guiding the dead on their way to hell in service of a dead god. Now a new god is arising, and the old ways are changing. The Valkyrs, guides of the dead, have become messengers of death and sacred warriors of the new god. Valkyries, the female Vanir, Valkyrs, the female Vanir of Helheim, are able to fly, a gift from the dead god they once served. Lesser beings are not held in high regard, and their blood is sacrificed to sate the awakening god. Unlike their cousins in Vanheim, the Vanir of Helheim are not shipwrights and sailors. Race, flying troops, illusions, and prefers the cold scale of +1. Military, Vanir heavy infantry, Valkyrs, and Vanir cavalry. Magic preferences, death, air, earth, blood, and some fire. Priests, average, can perform blood sacrifices. Now we get to the main portion of the game, and that is creating a pretender god. First things first, we start off with 280, no, where's one with a 0? There's always one with 0. There's one with 0, I know that for a fact. Okay, technically we start off with... How much does the dragon use? 220. So we start off with 500 design points. A lot of these points go into selecting our pretender to god. Now we have a large selection. We have the Great Enchantress, which, as is tradition with Conquest of Elysium, you right-click on these to learn more about them. The clicking that you might have heard when I was doing that description of all, the brief description of all the races, was me attempting to right-click to read more, but it turns out you can't do that. So I'm just going to do a couple of these because a lot of these are self-explanatory. Azinia. Ooh. So here we have the basic mages, which are usually at the bottom. The basic mages have very specific roles. Great Enchantress is a good example of such. The Great Enchantress is an enchantress of such great power that she's taken on the role of pretender god. She's a master of magic and can be adept in several magical paths. The Great Enchantress knows how to refine light from stellar bodies into one magic pearl each turn. And Freak Lord. The Freak Lord is a mage of such great power that he's mastered donning a godly mantle. He has taken on the role of pretender god. The Freak Lord is a master of magic and adept at several magical paths. He rides a horrifying freak created by vile magic. Bitch Queen. The Bitch Queen is a werewolf enchantress of tremendous magical power. The Bitch Queen usually appears in the form of an old hag, but when angered she transforms into a werewolf. Even though her were form is more powerful than her human form, it is still quite weak when compared to the majority of other pretender gods. Whenever she goes into battle, wolves will come to her aid. I'm just going to read through several of these more, just to give you an idea of what choices we've got. Solar Eagle. Born at the dawn of time, the Solar Eagle represents an earlier era, when monsters and giants roamed the world. When previous Pantocrator rose to power, he made the eagle a messenger and representative of the sun and gave him vast power. But the divine eagle is filled with hubris and claimed to be a lord of all underneath the sun. With Pantocrator punished the great bird with internal imprisonment. Now that the Pantocrator are gone, the shackles of the solar eagle are weakening, and he will now once more be free to claim the world as his. The solar eagle is surrounded by an aura of solar brilliance, given him by the Pantocrator as a messenger of the sun. The solar eagle is able to rise up to the heavens and burn away old age, sickness, and old wounds. The Earth Serpent. The Earth Serpent is a monstrous serpent born at the dawn of time, when monsters and giants roamed the world. Its movements caused earthquakes and avalanches, and it was worshipped by the first men who prayed that it would sleep and spare their homes. When the previous Pantocrator rose to power, he imprisoned and banished all that threatened his creation, and the Earth Serpent was imprisoned for eternity. Now with him gone, the shackles are weakening, and the tremors of the stirring serpent can be once more felt in the world. Great serpents can shed their skin and regenerate their wounds. The Earth Serpent is slow, as it is its metabolism and life cycle. It doesn't regenerate as quickly as other serpents, but given time, all of its wounds will heal. Son of Fenrir. The Son of Fenrir is a powerful offspring of one of the great adversaries. He is a huge and very powerful wolf. He is also most cunning and skilled in the paths of water and nature. He has inherited the foul temper of his father and is prone to go berserk if anyone opposes him. The Son of Fenrir is terrifying, and most mortals will run in fear when they see him. Enough of that stuff. Azinya. The Azinya is a female Aesir who survived the death of her kin. The Aesir were ancient gods who were defeated aeons ago by the Rim and Tusar in a cataclysmic battle. The Azinya was once given a task of guarding the apples of immortality by the previous Pantocrator, but she was abducted by a descendant of the Rim and Tusar and lost the apples. The Pantocrator punished her with internal imprisonment. Now with the disappearance of the Pantocrator, she is returned to bring hope and life to the new world. Keeper of the Bridge. The old Pantocrator was a careful god, and he had a single bridge to his citadel of power. This bridge was guarded by the Keeper. The Keeper never sleeps, and he sees everything, even in the middle of the night. The Keeper of the Bridge also has skill in earth and air magic to complement his already formidable fighting skills. Now that he is dead, the Keeper has seen his chance to become the new god. And with all those physical ones, we have the more esoteric ones, like the Fountain of Blood. The Fountain of Blood is a horrible spirit that inhabits an unholy fountain that spews forth blood instead of water. The spirit possesses a girl to serve as its instrument. The chosen child is blinded and rendered unable to do anything but speak the will of the spirit. At the age of 13, she is sacrificed and replaced with a new girl, born the day the previous girl was made the voice of the spirit. The unholy spirit is immobile. It cannot leave the fountain it inhabits. It can possess willing targets to perform tasks such as forging items for enchantment. The Fountain of Blood is tremendously strong in its dominion and magically powerful. Its eerie wails attract weak souls and unholy spirits. It is most efficient in finding virgins for sacrifice. Anyone wishing to harm the fountain will flee in panic once the eerily wail pierces his soul. The fountain can be destroyed, but not easily. And then the Irminsul. Irminsul is an ancient tree that possesses intelligence, magic, and a very strong dominion. Being a tree means Irminsul cannot move around, but it also means that it is tremendously difficult to kill in combat, and assassins are nothing to fear. The Irminsul is always guarded by 3 large bears. My own personal preference is to take a Ghost King, Lich, or Great Enchantress and simply spec her into death. So I'm going to take a Great Enchantress, because I like having a ton of design points to spam out magical paths. Now, improving magical paths increases the magic skills of your Pretender God only, and gives Bless effects. Bless effects will give certain benefits to your blessed troops, like similar to how the Voice of El worked from a long time ago. You can improve how your blessing skills work. In this case, upgrading your astral magic will increase magic resistance. And as you can see here, there are 8 paths of magic: fire, air, water, earth, astral, death, nature, blood. Each one will have different effects. I can show you all those effects briefly on the screen. Fire at its max level will give increased attack skill and flaming weapons, which seem fairly self-explanatory. Attack skill is the ability to hit, flaming weapons, fire damage. Air will give precision, which increases actual accuracy. Missile range, increasing how far your missiles can fire, and give you an air shield, which prevents you from being hurt by arrows, if I remember correctly. Water increases defense skill and makes you able to act quicker in a turn. Earth gives you reinvigoration, so you don't tire out as easily, and grants you protection, which I think grants you just base armor. Astral is magic resistance, and Twist Fate. Twist Fate's a specific spell that I'm not going to detail spells anymore until we're actually into the game. But Twist Fate's actually pretty decent, but that's not what I'm going for. Death gives you Undying, which I don't actually know what that does, but gives you death weapons. I love death weapons, so I'm going to pick Death, obviously. And since we're Helheim, why wouldn't I pick Death? Nature increases your health and gives you regeneration, which isn't a bad choice if you want to create really tough to kill things. Blood increases your strength and gives you blood vengeance, which even I don't know what that does, because I haven't played this game much before. So I'm going to fill out Death to its somewhat highest level, and now we go on to Dominion. Dominion is your aura. Like, think of your godly realm. If you were a god, you're spreading your influence throughout the world, and the world responds to this influence and changes to suit your design. Dominion strength is how your strength compares to other gods' strength. In this case, I have a Dominion strength of 1. It's very measly, it's very weak, it's very low, it's almost worthless, and will be easily stomped by others. Now, improving it makes it spread faster and makes it more resistant to being removed, to my knowledge. Order and each of these sliders afterwards have different effects on your Dominion. Here you have Order and Turmoil. A land of order is a prosperous and peaceful land, where most days are quiet and uneventful. Most people are friendly and tend to share the same views as everyone else. On the other hand, a land of turmoil is chaotic and uncivilized, filled with feuds and sudden murders. A land of turmoil can be an interesting but dangerous place to visit. Productivity and sloth. A land of productivity is characterized by industrious people working every day, trying to do their best in everything they do. Plenty of goods are made and sold in numerous bustling markets dotting the landscape. A land of sloth is a lazy, boring place where apathy reigns supreme. Donkeys stand about idly, blocking the streets, and no one cares to remove them. Heat and cold. Hot lands are generally dry and devoid of rain, though some are covered in thick forests and swamps. The climate of cold lands can range from desolate, snow-covered tundra to thick pine forests or deep swamps. You gain design points by shifting the climate scale in either direction from the preferred setting. Growth and death. A land of growth is a land of milk and honey. Plants grow everywhere in riotous profusion. A land of death, on the other hand, is a desolate place. Pale grey trees stand in naked rows where forests previously covered the landscape. Many a calf is stillborn and disease harries the population. No sane man will stay in a land of death for long. Fortune and misfortune. A land of fortune is a good place to visit. Good events are common and no one seems to have any bad luck. On the other hand, a land of misfortune is not always a good place to visit. Nails find their way through the soles of your boots, and fish let go of the bait. No matter how well a project is planned, trouble and ruin will undoubtedly strike. Lands of misfortune are best avoided. Magic and drain. A land of magic is filled with mysteries and riddles to be answered. The line between legend and reality is blurred, and fishermen may find ancient magic rings in the guts of fish they catch. In a land of magic, mages can cast spells without becoming exhausted, and research is an easy task. A land of drain, on the other hand, is a gloomy place. Thinking is difficult, and the sun seems bleak. In a land of drain, casting magic and researching spells is more difficult, and magic resistance is increased. You can earn design points by deliberately taking negative effects to this. like, I become slothful, my Dominion effects become this. All income and resources are decreased, which is naturally not a good thing, but I get tons of design points where I could just fill out my magic paths and potentially increase this to a completely obscene level. However, what I'm going to do is buff up my Dominion a little bit, and then I'm going to choose an imprisonment. Most Pretender gods, if they choose Awake, aren't as powerful, but start off in the home province on the first turn. A Dormant Pretender god will awake after a year, give or take a few months, but you gain 150 design points with which to spend. Imprisoned will break free in 3 years' time, give or take about half a year, but you gain 250. I take Imprisoned every time. I'm going to keep my domain strength around 4, and then I'm just going to start filling out my Dominion. So, naturally, I like Order. I like Order 2 about, gives me a lot of income and reduces unrest naturally, which is great for me. I like about 1 level of productivity minimum, and level of growth. Really, I just like having a lot of these things. I'm not going to bother with Drain or anything like that. And this is pretty much how I'm going to set it up. Ah, I can even take an extra magic path. Or I could double down. Could I up this anymore? No. Alright, I'll take an extra level of astral magic. And so this is my Pretender god that I'm going to take into this game. However, this is the introduction. We're not going to get into the game proper because that's another huge info dump that I'll have to do, and I'm really excited to do Dominions 4, but I also understand that you guys don't have as much patience, or would like more entertainment immediately, so this is just going to be an introductory episode. I'm going to make sure to put that down in the intro, stating that there's not going to be a lot of combat or actual nation gameplay yet. So here's my Pretender god that we'll be running through. And that's it for this episode. Hope you've all enjoyed watching. I know I've enjoyed starting up Dominions 4. And I will see you all next time. If you like this kind of video and like this style of commentary and gameplay, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.